Welcome back. It is Monday, April 17th in the MLB. Our four favorite picks are on the way. I'm Austin, joined by Logan. Let's recap yesterday, though. Although I wish I didn't have to, Logan. It was an 0-3 day. The Cardinals win by one. They had plenty of chances, as you know. You watched the game. The Royals cover full game. I knew they would probably cover full game. I just took the first five. Yeah, they had an outfielder let the ball go right through his legs, which ended up turning into 3 runs. Thanks for that. And the Guardians-Nationals, no one first inning. Everyone was sus of Patrick Corbin. He did his job, but Shane Bieber did not get it done. The Nationals end up winning that game outright. But either way, we're going to bounce back. We've obviously had a great start to the year. We're going to have some bad days, but it's a marathon. As we know, the MLB season, 162 games plus the playoffs. You're not going to win money every single day. But we're dialing in today, Logan. We will have a parlay of the day. We hit our last parlay of the day on Friday. We'll have another one. It will be 3 guys to get a hit. That will be the top link in the description if you want to go check it out. See if we can hit 2 in a row. But Logan, you've been on a hot streak. I know yesterday you didn't go your way, but what you got? You got 2 plays, but I'll let you give the first one right now.
Yesterday was so infuriating with the Cardinals leaving a runner on second and third, no outs. That would have covered the run line, a base hit, but that's just how it sometimes goes in baseball. And the first of my 2 plays today, because I couldn't decide which I liked more, so we're just going to play them both, right? White Sox plus a half in the first 5 innings. So White Sox run line, minus 124 odds on FanDuel's your best value. Now again, guys, it's a first 5 innings bet. It could be first half, or it could be first 5 innings. Whichever, this bet will cash if the White Sox lead after 5 innings or if it's tied after 5 innings. So there are 2 pathways to the plus a half in the first 5, which is why I really do like these bets. Now, there are also a few bets I do like in this game, potentially. Like, I hope I pick the right one. The under 7.5 I really like as just one of those why'd they set it so low kind of things. Yeah, the Phillies, I think, offense is going to dip today. And I think they set this low for a reason. And I also do like the White Sox on the money line, full game, but their bullpen's just nasty. So I'm going to go ahead and take them first 5 on the run line. Who's starting for the White Sox today? It's Lance Lynn, right? 7.31 ERA, 1.63 whip. Those numbers aren't all that great, right? The ERA, though, is inflated from a terrible start versus San Francisco, where he gave up, he hosted batting practice, 8 earned runs. Not a good start one bit today. He faces a Phillies offense, red hot, right? They're coming off a beatdown of the Cincinnati Reds. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think Lance Lynn, being the veteran pitcher that he is savvy enough to get through this Phillies order, right? They don't have amazing splits versus him as well, right? They've seen him before. JT Realmuto, 0-for-7 versus him. Kyle Schwarber, 3-for-14. He has cranked a few homers off of him. That's the concern for Lance Lynn. Keep the ball in the yard, and we'll be really good. And Nick Castellanos, 2-for-11. So at the end of the day, I think Lance Lynn should be able to navigate his way through this Phillies order. And you know what? I think by the time the Phillies bats actually get hot in this game, it will be towards the later end of this game. We've seen it so many times picking Phillies nerfies. Either they start out of the gate with 10 runs or they're going to be scoreless for a hot minute. And I think Lance Lynn can actually hold them down enough to give us a chance to cash this bet and give us a chance to get hit some runs up on Zach Wheeler, who's starting for the Phillies today. 4.02 ERA, 1.4 whip. That whip is a little bit high, right? Especially for a pitcher of Wheeler's status. Wheeler has allowed 3 walks in each of his last 2 games. Though allowing walks, allowing free base runners is going to provide the White Sox opportunities to score, right? They're hitting the ball well. This White Sox team, 8th in batting average, 18th in OPS at home. I like to see the batting average. And if Zach Wheeler's putting some free guys, on base, think that offense is capable, certainly, of scoring. White Sox, have shown the ability to put up runs. We've seen it last time I picked them, actually, against the Orioles. They did their job offensively, right? It was their bullpen that chokes away any sort of lead that their starting pitcher or their offense gave them, right? So that's why we're going to bet first 5, because we're going to eliminate the bullpens in this one. I don't like either team's bullpen at all. It's just not something you can trust or try to predict. So we're going to go ahead and take the more predictable bet, in my opinion, which is the White Sox on the first 5 run line. But Austin, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, Logan, I like the pick. I hope the White Sox come through for you. I feel like yesterday we had good reads, have the games, we just didn't pick the right picks, which is going to happen. But for my pick, I'm going to go to an under, and it's comical that yesterday's Mariners game had 1 total run scored. So if you want to run back the Royals plus a half in the first 5, go for it. They're probably going to win it outright against the Grom, because I seem to be a day early. But hopefully I'm not a day early on this one, because I'm taking the Cubs and Athletics under 8.5 runs, minus 115 on BetMGM. Now, I saw sharper books at 8.5, I think with plus money on the over, but I also saw a couple books at 8. If you want to take it at 8, you can. Personally, I'd rather avoid that push potential. If it's only, going up incrementally in terms of paying paying a little extra juice to get 8.5. I'd much rather that, obviously. But let's talk about this game, because doing a little bit of the Logan's line reading, I look at the Athletics, the team that's only plus 125, plus 135-ish on the money line. Look, when I see an A's team that's 3-13 against the Cubs team that is, 8-6, looking solid, and they're only plus 125 on the money line. Like, what's going on here? But let's talk about Kyle Muller, who's going to start for the Athletics. Now, Muller, if you look at his ERA, you're looking at a 5.52 ERA and a 1.43 whip. You're like, all right, some to desired, but you see at home, been very good. 2.53 ERA, 1.12 whip, and 2 home starts. On the road, you got roughed up. He had 13.5 ERA and a 2.5 whip. Luckily, he's at home today. Hopefully, he can dial back in. And we see a Cubs team, like I said, the fact that they're only, minus 150 or so on the money line is, this is a talented offense. It's a team that just beat 2 of 3 against the Dodgers, who everyone loves to take the Dodgers. And we look at this feels like a letdown spot for them against the Athletics. You go into Oakland and you're expecting to spank this team, but this is a team that I think can keep this one close. I don't see them keeping it close in a high-scoring game. Now, obviously, if you've never watched an Athletics game, it's a very big ballpark, very pitcher-friendly, which should help the home runs hopefully not exist today. But we saw yesterday the Cubs hit 289 as a team. Something I was checking back over the last 10 or so games. This team's going over and under. They have games hitting 289, then they'll go in the 100s. Then a game at 300, they'll go back to like the 220 range. So hopefully that ebbs and flows kind of up and down roller coaster type thing comes here today, where we see the Cubs not get a lot of base runners, and they were just banking on them not getting the timely hits that they would need to get those runs. And while Oakland doesn't have a great bullpen, Muller's going to do his thing. He'll come out. Oakland's bullpen 4th worst in bullpen ERA, but I'm confident they can at least not implode. You just can't have like a 4-run. You can't have a guy come in, walk 3 guys, give up a hit, and next thing you know, the game's blown wide open. So I think this defense and this bullpen can come in here, at least hold it down. They might give some run opportunities late, but I think that this pitching staff for the Athletics can keep it down. And then on the Cubs side, you got Hayden Wesneski. He'd like to forget his last start, because his last start was ugly. But we look at him entering with the 7.5 ERA, 2.83 whip. He's had 2 starts versus the Reds and Mariners, 2 much better offenses than the A's that they will see today. And the last start, couldn't even get out of the 2nd inning. We were on that game. I forget exactly what we picked in that one, but he stunk. I think that was that Mariners game I don't think we were on it, but the Mariners were a team up 7-0 and ended up blowing that lead. And then Logan picked the Mariners the next day. But I just look at this A's offense. Like, it's inconsistent. I probably can't name 3 A's on the lineup. They got a lot of new guys, a lot of veterans, a lot of young guys. It's a weird lineup. But what I do know, the A's, 9th worst batting average in the league. That goes even worse at home. 3rd worst batting average at home. And the Cubs bullpen, once you see Wesneski do his thing, hopefully he doesn't give up, 5 earned runs. The Cubs bullpen, very mediocre in ERA, whip, and all the other metrics. So I think this A's team probably doesn't score a ton of runs, but I think they keep this game close and probably cover the plus 1.5, which is pretty juiced for them. And I think in order for the A's to have a chance at winning, I don't think this is a high scoring game. So I really like the under 8.5 for what it's worth. The books open the line at 7.5, even with the pitchers combining for this 13 ERA, which is what people like to do. They just add up the ERAs like 1, 2, 3, 13. That's more than 8.5. I'll just take the over. I don't think that's how you bet baseball. I like the under in this spot. We've seen the Cubs involved in some low scoring games, haven't been getting those timely hits. Hopefully that continues on the road away from Wrigley Field. Give me the under 8.5 runs. But Logan, you got a second play and it's plus money. What are you going with?
Yeah, we do have a second play. I told you I couldn't figure out which one I like more, so we'll play them both. And I do like the value on this one for sure. We're going to the Astros game, and I'm taking them on the money line, plus 110 odds on PointsBet. Now, this is why you line shop, right? Because I'm seeing plus money on some books, and on FanDuel, I'm seeing minus 10 something. So this is why you line shop, because you can get plus value on other books. Now, today, I like this as a bounce back spot for the Houston Astros for sure. After a 9-1 embarrassment on Sunday Night Baseball, right? This sets up to be a really good one, right? Christian Javier starts for the Astros, 4.24 ERA and a 1.18 whip. Christian Javier, the last time we saw him out, I was picking the Pirates against him, and everyone was calling me crazy. They're like, have you ever seen Javier pitch? Yeah, no, I do, and he's kind of all over the place, right? He's got a good starts, he's got bad starts. This is going to be a bounce-back spot for Christian Javier. I'm pretty confident in that. At home, especially pitching at home, right? Javier was on the road in the last start. Javier's ERA dropped to a 3.27 ERA. In 2022, Christian Javier was a force at home, right? You didn't bet against him. 2.26 ERA at home. I expect that trend to continue where his ERA does take a dip after a really solid home start. And you know what? Javier, not a ton of plate appearances versus these Blue Jays hitters, but they've seen him before and he's had success, right? Bo Bichette, 0 for 3, Vlad Guerrero Jr., 0 for 2. And Matt Chapman, someone who's been swinging a really hot bat to start the season. He's only 2 for 10 versus Christian Javier. And at Christian Javier, we got to do a little bit of line reading with the player props. One of my favorite things to do, right? His K line set to 6.5. Of course, you're getting plus money on the over, but a line he hasn't, hit over once this year, right? I like when the books set their K line high because they're expecting a decent length and a decent performance from the starting pitcher. And I think Christian Javier delivers for that on that for us today. Now, who's starting for the Blue Jays? Kevin Gausman, right? Gausman 1.35 ERA and a 1 WHIP. Kevin Gausman, I'm not going to try to poke holes in his game. Really solid starting pitcher. But potential trouble spot, right? You have to look for these trouble spots for Gausman. And he allowed 2 home runs in his last start to Detroit. Now, look, Detroit offense, not as good as Houston, right? Detroit's offense is one of the worst in the league. The Astros know how to hit home runs at home. Last year, they hit a ton of home runs at home. This year, they're tied for 10th, in home runs at home. Something I expect them to only get better throughout the year. I expect the Astros haven't been hitting all that well, and they haven't been hitting all that well at home. That's something that's going to get better as the year goes on. I see a close game through 5 innings in this one, and the bullpens being the deciding factor, because I don't give either starting pitcher a huge edge over the other one. Now, if you look at the stats, this is where I do believe numbers lie, right? Toronto, 8th in bullpen ERA. Houston, 17th in bullpen ERA. Guys, statistically, Toronto has the advantage, but I've watched a ton of baseball, right? And I know, when my eyes don't lie, the Blue Jays bullpen just comes in and they're just choke artists. They always do this, right? They've got some arms in there that I couldn't put a dollar on. The Astros, on the other hand, pitching at home, this Astros bullpen is really good. They have some really good pitchers out of the bullpen that have those put away pitches that can get some really good swing and misses from these talented Blue Jays hitters. I think that's going to be the difference in this one. I could see a lower scoring game in this one. I could see it being close, and the Astros bullpen holding whatever sort of lead we got in this one. So I'm going to go ahead and take them. I love the value on them to go ahead and bounce back, getting plus money on this one. But Austin, grab that flag.
Oh, yeah, baby. You know how it is. The music's going. Nerfy Nation, we're back. I know we've lost 2 in a row, but we had hit 4 in a row before that. So we're due a winner today, and I really like the one we got cooked up. Now, one of our leans did hit yesterday. The other one got postponed. So if you took advantage of the leans, well, you went 1-1, technically. But today we're going to a game that involved one of those teams that was postponed, and we're going to the Giants and Marlins. Nowhere on first inning and taking it at minus 130 on Caesars. Now, I would probably play this to around minus 145, but it's the DraftKings at minus 155. You got the wrong guy if you want a minus 155 nowhere on first inning. Just won't do it there. So I'd probably try to line shop and probably get minus 130, minus 140 on this one. Now, obviously, if you don't know, a Nerfy is a no-run first inning. You take the under 0.5 runs in the first inning, and if you want to lay more juice, which I don't recommend doing, you can take the tie if you want. Now, let's talk about Jesus Luzardo, who will start for the Miami Marlins in the top half of the first inning. And hey, he's been pretty good. 3-0 on first innings. Nerfies this season. He's been dialed in. The Giants are 10th in first inning runs. They have scored, I think, in 3 straight. Teams, I mean, that's what happens when we play the Tigers and their pitching staff. I think Luzardo can come in here, do his thing, get us those first 3 outs. And Logan, this next guy, absolutely is the line in the sand. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, this is the line in the sand for Logan Webb, right, for the Giants. Logan Webb was an ally of Nerfy Nation last year. Not so much this year, right? Logan Webb 0-3 on Nerfies this season. So if you want to be sketched out and just totally not tail this one, fine. I'm not going to call you crazy. But what I do know is the Marlins are 26th in first inning runs. Marlins are a nasty offense. I'll bet a Nerfy any day of the week with that offense. They just have a bunch of guys up there that don't swing at not competitive pitches. The over/under predictably set to 7.5, right where we like to pick these. And yeah, it is the line in the sand for Logan Webb, because at the end of the day, if you're not able to get these 3 outs against probably one of the worst offenses in baseball, I don't know where they're going to come. So I do believe this one stands a really good chance of cashing. I mean, yesterday, anyone that picked that Sandy Alcantara, Zach Allen Nerfy, congrats. I mean, it was hella juiced. But I watched that one and it made me say, Austin, we got to pick more Marlins Nerfies, because this team just isn't all that good. They got shut out yesterday. So, yeah.
We're picking a Marlins Nerfy, hopefully cash now. Yeah. Waving this bad boy in the chat. We'll probably be having a live stream at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time to sweat this one out with you. Hopefully we can get a winner for all the people. But those are our 4 favorite picks of the day. We don't do 4 picks too often, but we like all 4 of these. Obviously, let us know your favorite plays down below. And if you want to see our parlay of the day, 3 guys to get a hit. Top link in the description. Go check it out. You can see if we can hit back-to-back parlays of the day. We'll see you guys back in the next one. Logan Austin signing out. Peace.